Really quickly how I made a card today with the Timeless Tropical stamp set and the In the Tropics dies, and I also used some of the pretty new in colors, so that's definitely exciting, and I love seeing all the new in colors as well. We have some really good ones. If you haven't checked out the new in colors yet from Stampin' Up, you definitely need to make sure you're getting out there and taking a peek at them. If you don't have a current catalog, let me know. I would be happy to send one to you. If you live within the United States and don't have a current demonstrator that you work with, I'd be happy to send out a catalog to you so you could take a peek yourself. So, all right, I have got, let's start with the card. So this is the card we're making today. And hey, Sheila, thanks for joining from Southern California. Glad you're here today. And hopefully you're having some nice weather. We've got some kind of weird weather rolling through. It's really windy here today, but not really storming. So it's just a little weird. So, hey, Rosie, thanks for joining as well. All right, so this is the card we're going to be making. Again, I use the Time Tropical stamp set. This is one that is in the current annual catalog, and it's going to be in the next annual catalog as well. So if you don't have it yet, this is an opportunity to get it. So it's definitely a good one. Some beautiful tropical images. I love the sentiments in here. I love the fonts and the sentiments. So definitely a pretty one. Hey, Catherine and Karen, I appreciate you being here too. So. And then there is a coordinating set of dies. They're no longer bundled together, but they still coordinate, so no matter. But this die set is called In the Tropics, and the dies cut out the palm trees and the flowers and the leaves, I guess the leaf, I should say. And then there are some little accessory pieces. There's a really cool pineapple and a pineapple top, and then there's the aloha, and then we've got some little accessory leaves and flowers and things. So it's a good die set, a good stamp set. Again, if it's one that you don't have, you definitely should be getting your hands on it. So you sent the wind. Rosie, you need to stop that. We don't want your bad weather here. So, all right. Hey, Kathy, I appreciate you being here from Texas as well. So a couple other things that I used on this card. I did cut out the sentiment with the second from the smallest of the Stitched So Sweetly rectangle dies. This again is one of those die sets that is in the next annual catalog, so I was very happy to see that as well. It's a good set of dies. Love the little stitched edges on everything, and good one for lots of different types of sentiments that we have as well. Hey, Bree and Barbara and Michelle, I appreciate you being here as well from Nebraska. So I bet you guys are probably done with the weird weather. We got the wind today from you guys. Rosie said she sent it from South Dakota, but I'm guessing if South Dakota had it, Nebraska did too. So I did use a couple of the circle dies here from the Layering Circles dies, and oops, wrong one. Hold on. I thought I had the right circle. Wait a minute, maybe I did have the right circle. I did. I thought it was the second largest, then I laid it on top, and I'm like, that's not right, but it is. All right, so it is the second largest of the regular circle dies from the Layering Circles dies, and then I used the second largest of the scallop circle dies to cut the polished pink layer right underneath it. So, I did use this die set as well. Super nice weather and no wind. Lucky you. I don't know. Like I said, Rosie sent it from South Dakota, so I'm blaming her. So, all right, a couple of things before we get going. Stampin' Up! Does have a Join Plus promotion that is starting on May 4th when the new catalog kicks off. So it is a great time to join. If you are not currently a demonstrator, you should be. Definitely consider joining in May. It's an awesome time to join because normally the starter kit is $99 and you get to pick $125 worth of whatever Stampin' Up! Merchandise you'd like. If you join between May 4th and May 31st, you actually are going to get $155 in Stampin' Up! Product of your choice as your starter kit. You're still only going to pay $99 plus tax. It ships for free. You're going to get some business items in there with it as well. But the big deal is that you get the awesome deal on the starter kits. You get additional $30 free stuff in Stampin' Up! Whatever merchandise you might like. So definitely, if you are not a demonstrator and are thinking about it, let me know. I'd be happy to talk with you more about it. But it's a really, really, really good deal. Then on top of that, Stampin' Up! Has got a Connect, Craft, and Collect host benefit or host rewards starting on May 4th as well. And this actually runs through June 14th, so it runs a little bit longer than the joining promotion does. But any order that you place, if you place an individual order of $250 or greater during this time frame, May 4th to June 14th, you're going to get a $25 additional in Stampin' Up! Or Stampin' Rewards from Stampin' Up! To spend on whatever Stampin' Up! Merchandise you'd like. So that can include the host items. It can be anything out of the catalogs. So again, a really, really, really good deal. So if you're interested in trying to collect up $250 worth of orders, let me know and I'll set up a host code for you. You can see if you can do that in that time frame. If you want to order $250 yourself, which most of us probably do because it's a really awesome catalog, you're going to get $25 in additional host cash for free from Stampin' Up! To spend on a $250 order. So let me know if you have any questions about that. I'd be happy to chat more with you. Or like I posted on my blog today, if you join and then place a $250 order, you get the $30 free stuff in your starter kit, and you're also going to get another $25 free in Stampin' Rewards. So that's really like the best deal. So let me know if you have questions about any of that. I'd be happy to chat with you more about it. So looks like a few more people have joined us. Terry, I appreciate you being here. Glad you're here live today. And Denise and Debbie, so thanks for hopping in and saying hello. And actually, you haven't missed anything yet, Terry. I was just busy yapping and hadn't actually started really doing anything yet. So, all right. You didn't like polished pink? Oh, Karen. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to change our mind on that. So I'm starting with, this is all kind of pre-cut. I did as much ahead of time. Oh, you're right, Rosie. You do get the discount for being a demo. See, all the things I forget. I get all excited about talking about the free stuff and forget that, yeah, you get the 20% or greater discount on every order you place after that. So definitely a good deal. So, all right. So back to the card. I am using some of the new Pattern Play 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. It is actually a host exclusive item. So I just talked about the extra host benefits. You can actually get this pack of paper on May 4th with host rewards only. So it's a huge pack of 48 sheets, 12 by 12, a whole bunch of designs. They are colors on one side, and it's all different kind of geometric patterns and florals and all sorts of different designs on one side. And the back side of all of them has a black and white pattern, which I love. You know, I use black and white a ton on cards. So I was really excited to see a huge pack of paper that's got black and white on half of it. So I had this cut to 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. That's the size of the Designer Series paper, and we're going to adhere it down with a little Stampin' Seal to a piece of basic black cardstock, which is cut to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And again, all the details are going to be posted out on my blog tomorrow, and I will link up the blog post in the description of this video, so you'll be able to find it out there tomorrow once the post goes live. You'll be able to see the details out there as well. So. All right, so I pre-cut the circles. So I cut this one from Polished Pink, and again, this is the second to the largest scallop circle from the Layering Circles dies. And then the second to the largest regular circle I cut from Basic White cardstock. I'm just going to stick the two of those together with a little Stampin' Seal, and they layer quite nicely, which I love. So, all right, love the little kind of peak edge around it, but not too much showing. And then we're going to take some Stampin' Seal and adhere this to the card front as well. All right, I'm just going to go ahead, and again, it's probably not perfectly centered, but I think it's close enough that we can get by with it. So I did a little stamping and some of the coloring ahead of time just because I know it's kind of the same process over and over again, and I didn't figure you wanted to sit and watch me color the entire flower. I figured you could probably get most of the details out of it just by watching me do about half of it. So this is stamped in Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and again, it's the floral image from the Timeless Tropical stamp set, and I'm going to be coloring it with Polished Pink Stampin' Blends markers. These are going to be available from Stampin' Up! Starting on the 4th, so they are one of the new in colors. When I color with these markers, I generally tend to start with the light color first and get the color kind of all over the area that I'm planning to color. And then I come back in with the dark and add in a little bit of the shading in the areas where I want it to be a little bit shaded. A little bit darker, probably around the ends and the edges and kind of towards the center. And then I come back in with the light and just do a little bit of blending together so that there aren't really any harsh lines in it. That's mainly the main thing that I'm wanting to do when I'm doing the blending of it. And then areas like this where I want it to be a little bit lighter, I may sort of flick over the top of it with my blends, but not really truly color the entire thing in. So that's kind of how I do it, especially when I'm doing florals. They're fun to do. They're easy to do. Flower images are very, very forgiving. So if you're newer to coloring, or like me, aren't really that awesome at coloring, definitely start with some flowers, because you can kind of get away with a lot on flowers, and they're very forgiving images. So, all right. So again, I'm just coming in with the light first, and love it in polished pink. I did too. And actually, I do like pink. I can't say that I don't like it, but I thought this was going to be a really like almost too bright of a pink for me, but I really love it. So again, coming back in with the dark. This time I left a little bit of white on here, and I'll show you how I kind of do the kind of little sort of flicking thing to color it in here in a second. So I'm going to be blending the two together. Again, just going over the dark with my light, kind of trying to blend and get a little bit, and then just taking and almost pulling the ink down or over the image a little bit. So that leaves it a little bit lighter, gives it a little different look. And I will say that as these dry, they actually get even lighter. So these are dry because I colored them last night, and these are a little bit not quite as dry because I'm just coloring them now. So definitely the colors do lighten up on these as they fully dry. And I don't know if that's typical of all alcohol markers, but I do know that the Stampin' blends tend to do that. So again, just going to go in with the light polished pink around the edges here, and come back in with the dark and put in the dark shaded areas. So it's going to be down here towards the center, definitely, and here along the edge. And this leaf, or this petal, actually not leaf, is kind of curled over. So that one, to me, when I look at it, should be lighter and not darker. Probably if you were really good at coloring, you would probably tell me that I'm wrong on that, but that's okay. I like the way it looks with a little bit lighter. So again, I'm going to come back in with my light polished pink, and I've probably called it petal pink. I meant to call it polished pink. If I've called it petal pink, I apologize. And then kind of come back in with that little kind of flick over the areas that I hadn't colored in yet. If you want to make it even lighter, you can actually take your color lifter and come back in and do over the areas that you want to be really light, like this area I feel like should be a little lighter. Anywhere where it's kind of curled upward, I want it to be a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to come in with the color lifter and color just a little bit over the top of it, and it just kind of picks up a little bit of that color. And again, this is one of those things that you will definitely want to do sort of in layers. And I see I got a little out of the line, so I'm going to just shove that back in the line a little bit. You'll want to do it in layers when you use the color lifter, because again, it's one of those things that you can easily overdo it. So it's better to go and do it a little bit lighter, and then come back in a second time than it is to like really, really scrub over the top of it and then take way too much color out, and then it just looks weird. Or it looks almost kind of spotty looking, I guess I shouldn't say weird, but it doesn't color quite correctly if you do that. So, all right. For the little inside of the flower, the little flower center, I'm sure that there's an appropriate term for it, but I don't ever remember flower parts. The flower center is what I'm going to call it. I've got Pale Papaya. Stampin' Blends marker, and again, I'm just using the light one first. And I don't know if you saw, but I actually have a few areas where I got a little overzealous with my polished pink and ended up coloring over the part that was supposed to be Pale Papaya. And the nice thing about the blends markers is that they blend. So it actually just kind of picked up the color of the polished pink and mixed it right in, and nobody can tell the difference that I went out of the lines on that. So, all right, so that is it for the flower center. For the leaves, again, they're stamped on basic white cardstock in Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and I'm using the light and dark soft succulent markers. And again, it's just going to be a very similar process, that anywhere that's got the darker shading on it, I'm coming in, this should be, is my light soft succulent. And I'm going to color in the areas, color in along the kind of the veins of the leaf, and then come back in with the dark. So, I'm glad that, well, hopefully they're tips and, good information for you. So, like I said, I know that I am not really excellent at coloring, but I just do it until it looks good to me, and then I call it good. So I'm going to come back in with the dark and go over a couple of the really dark areas. The other nice thing about a lot of the floral images, well, a lot of the images in general from Stampin' Up, is that they kind of help you with the shading and sort of show you where it's already shaded at. That's definitely where you want it to be a little darker. So add your darker ink in there and do the lighter ink elsewhere. So that's kind of how you know, when I'm initially coloring on a floral image, I generally tend to look at where Stampin' Up! Has put the shading in for me, and then just kind of accentuate that with the markers. So again, I'm just going to kind of finish this up with a little bit of light Stampin' Blends over the top of everything that I've just done. And that's it for coloring the leaves. So again, super, super easy. And I love this floral image because it is really easy to use. So, all right, next up, we're going to adhere a few pieces together. It's called a statement. See, Rosie and Karen usually can answer all of my questions, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. They usually always can answer everything for me, because usually I just start talking and don't ever think to look anything like that up before I start talking. So I'm using a couple little Stampin' dimensionals to adhere the flower onto the circles that I've already die cut here, and then I've got some glue dots, and this is one of the rolls that's kind of done a little backwards. Thank goodness I have heard that they will not be backwards forever, which, yay. They're supposed to go back to the other way of rolling them. Apparently this was a test that whoever makes the glue dots did. And I know that many demonstrators did not care for this version of the glue dots. So I'm happy to report that hopefully we'll be getting the regular ones back soon. So I'm just going to take the little leaf images and tuck them right underneath the flower and stick them down with the glue dots. You can also do this if you prefer with liquid glue or use your Stampin' Seal or whatever, but glue dots I find to be pretty easy to work with when I'm tucking something like that underneath. So yeah, I don't love that version of the glue dots. So I'm not sad that they probably won't be sticking around. So, all right. Next up, I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon. This again is from the new In Colors, and it's in the new catalog. This is the Soft Succulent Open Weave 3/8 inch ribbon. That's a lot of words to say for pretty sheer ribbon is pretty much what it is. So, all right, I'm going to take it and fold it in half, and I've put a little Stampin' Seal here on the card front, and I'm going to stick down the ribbon, hopefully to the Stampin' Seal, if I didn't totally miss it, and then I'm just going to trim it off here. So add a little bit of an angle, and that's all there is for the ribbon. Next up, we're going to do a little stamping finally, instead of just listening to me talk. So I've got... of course, I grabbed Magenta Madness and not Polished Pink. Let me go grab the correct ink pad. Good heavens. See, the one day when I think I have it all together, I forget where I put it. So, okay, Polished Pink is what I meant to grab for the ink pad. And totally was not paying attention. I grabbed the wrong one. So, oh, thanks, Rosie. I appreciate that. So... I am stamping the sentiment from the Timeless Tropical Stamp Set in Polished Pink ink on basic white cardstock. And then we're going to cut it out with one of the Stitch So Sweetly dies. So we're going to use the second smallest of the dies. I don't know, Rosie, you may not want to do a thumbs up after all of my fumbling. So just going to run this through my die cutting machine off to my right-hand side here quick. So I'm going to be off screen for 1 second. Hope y'all are enjoying your Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. Maybe have something exciting planned. We kind of don't, because we just don't really do that much exciting stuff around our house. But all right, so let me get the die put away here. So there's our die cut sentiment. I'm going to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals, maybe. There they are. And when I put my dimensionals down, I want to make sure that I get them sort of close to the edges of the die cut because I'm layering it over the top of the ribbon. And I want to make sure that some of this gets caught actually on the actual cardstock and not just on the ribbon, because the ribbon sometimes doesn't hold particularly well. So I just want to make sure that I get the dimensionals placed close to the edges of the die cut so that it catches the cardstock as well. All right, then we're going to take this and hopefully layer it right over the top of the flower and the ribbon, and then adhere it down. And hopefully I got it fairly straight. And then the last thing for the card front, other than actually putting it on the card, is I've got some of the matte black dots, which these are items, or these are in the current mini catalog, and they're going to be carrying forward into the next annual catalog. So they're just a pretty little black accent that you can add to it. Just stuck that on the sentiment, and then we're going to put it onto the card front. And of course, I used polished pink for my card front. For my original card, I have it a top fold. So this is 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½. This one is your regular fold card. So, or book fold card, I should say, not regular fold. So it's a 5½ by 8½, scored at 4¼ So it's same exact card front size. You can do it whichever way you prefer. So I usually prefer the top fold cards, but I know many people like the side fold cards, so I like to try to show when I can that it works as a side fold card as well. So, hey, Brooke, thanks for joining today. All right, we're going to go ahead and stick this together and hopefully try to get it straight and even. So I can kind of use my grid paper a little bit to help me line it up. It doesn't work extremely well because obviously you can't see through it, but usually it helps me to get it pretty close to centered and correct. On the inside of the card, just have basic white cardstock that I'm going to stamp a sentiment from the Timeless Tropical stamp set. This one says, "Rest and relax, you deserve it." And again, I'm using polished pink. Hopefully, oh yes, this is polished. Yep, it is polished pink. I thought maybe I'd grab my magenta ink again. Eek. And just going to stamp this here on the panel. Hopefully I got it fairly straight, which I think I did. And then I've got a little piece of the leftover Pattern Party Designer Series paper, and we're just going to adhere that to the bottom with a little Stampin' seal. And we're going to be all done with the card. So a super simple one, and hopefully you like the new design. Whoop! I got a little wild with my adhesive. Let me roll that down just a second so it doesn't stick out the top of my designer paper because I don't want that, and have the card glued shut. So just going to line this up here at the bottom, stick it down, and then trim off the excess with my paper snips. There we go. I think I got it fairly straight. And then we're going to take a little Stampin' Seal to adhere it to the inside of the card. Couple other things as I'm adhering this down. I've got some Designer Series paper shares from the new annual catalog that I will be closing on Monday. So make sure that you get your orders put in for those. I'll be ordering on Tuesday morning early and then chopping everything up and sending it back out just as quickly as I can. So you can see those, excuse me, on my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com. And let me know if you're interested in joining. And don't forget that the retiring items from Stampin' Up! Are actually going away on the 3rd, which is Monday. So if there are items from the current annual catalog that you don't have yet and are wanting, make sure you're getting your orders put in very, very soon. And I think that's about all. So just wanted to remind you of that the retiring items are going away. So make sure you're getting on getting those ordered. So thank you so much for joining today. I appreciate y'all being here. I will plan to be back on my Facebook channel around 2 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday, and then back here again on YouTube on Friday around 2 o'clock Eastern time. So we will chat with y'all soon, and thanks for joining. Have a good weekend.